the training, in fact, the sessions are going to happen over a 2-day period. I'm sure Mr. Hope has already informed you. We will be having a 2-hour session today and 2-hour session tomorrow. Today, basically, we will be looking at strategic management process, the planning and formulation, what it's all about, its importance, and so forth. And then we will go into a working group session. Your working group session 1. Tomorrow, we will go into working group session 2. Now, the training in itself, or the sessions in itself, have little activities to it. So coming out of the working group session today, there are a few things you just need to go back and inform really, because I'm sure the Chamber of Commerce already have them in place or have a vision, have a mission. So as we go along, you will understand exactly what I mean. We'll take a little break at 11 and then we'll continue the working group session 1. Now, I'm not 100% positive that we will finish the whole of the working group session 1 because it's quite a bit. And again, we'll be having a discussion and any questions and answers on it as well. So we may have to continue working group session 1 tomorrow, along with working group session 2. Okay, that's understandable to everybody before I take this down. Any questions?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect.
Opportunity to share my presentation. Bear with me, let me put it in presentation mode. Okay, can you all see that?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay, perfect. So let's get into it. So today, like I said, we're going to look at strategic planning and formulation. The structure of the presentation, we already did the introductions. We talked about what do you hope to learn, take away. So then we'll go into what is strategic management, what is the strategic management process, the plan phase of strategic management, understanding your environment, strategic formulation, what is a strategy, benefits of a strategy, why is a strategy important, developing your strategy, key elements of a good strategy, strategic choice cascade, specifics of a plan, projects, to create effective projects, KPIs, and conclusions. Now, I must say, this training was actually done, and we sought assistance from the International Trade Center because a lot of the business support organizations, we're looking at it from the business support organization level. We realized that a lot of them will actually, they were offering services, but the services weren't very targeted and relevant and effective to help MSMEs, especially in terms of export development. And it's because a lot of the business support organizations in the region do not have strategic plans. So we thought it was important that they understand what the strategic management process and the importance of having a strategic plan for your organization to help you remain focused so that you could actually measure your deliverables and also to remain relevant. Okay, so that is why we thought it was key to just have one-on-one sessions with business support organizations so that you understand the importance of this. That's the reason for this training. We already did individual introductions, we did that. So for most organizations, I think there's a misunderstanding as to what strategic management means. And it really is how you as a Chamber of Commerce defines the business outcomes that you want to achieve and how you will utilize the resources to achieve them. Now, in order for us to go through this whole strategic management process, we will go over strategic planning, implementation, and strategy tracking. Let us look at what strategic management process could mean for you. Strategic management is a documented set of steps that you at the chamber will go through to turn the concept of strategic management into reality. When you are going through a strategic management process, there are 3 key things that you must include in it. And that is a plan, management, and also tracking. These 3 steps are key when you are going through a strategic management process for your organization, especially the planning. And it's important that strategic planning should actually include all persons in the organizations so that they feel that and they become part of the organization. They understand exactly what you as an organization set out to achieve and what outcome that you are looking for. So the strategic management process should include everybody. For a Chamber of Commerce, it should include your board members, it should include your staff, and at some level, it should even include your members. So I don't know at the moment how you actually do your strategic management process, and if it's just done at the higher level, whether or not you actually include your staff. So later on, when we go through the whole presentation, we'll have some discussion on that. The 3 key areas of the strategic management process that must be considered when you are going through the exercise or the activity for your organization. The planning, and that includes formulating a strategy, understanding your environment, and defining your vision. The management of it, executing your strategy, looking at the goals, focusing on your projects and your key performance indicators. Tracking. There's no point in having a strategy, executing projects and goals if you are not going to analyze your programs and actually look at the deliverables. You need to be able to implement your key performance indicators, have proper reporting, have strategy tracking tools in place so that you could measure your performance and apply different frameworks. But we will go through all of this step by step when we go through the entire training. But it's important to note your strategic management process must include planning. It must include management, and it must include tracking. That's the only way you as an organization could successfully implement some kind of strategic management process for your organizations. We'll go into this later as well. Let us discuss the plan phase of strategic management process. And it's important to note that the organizations who are the most successful, and not just organizations, because you could apply that to your individual businesses as well. The ones that are most successful are able to clearly articulate what they are trying to achieve. Therefore, for the Chamber of Commerce, the first part of strategic management process should involve figuring out what you want to accomplish and how you are going to get there. Now, the plan phase of strategic management can be broken down into the following subsections. And as we go throughout the sessions and the training, you will get key tips as to how to formulate all of these. So your plan phase should include goal setting. The Chamber of Commerce should sit down and brainstorm and think and put in place what you consider to be your ultimate goals, goal settings. And this means this encompasses the process of defining high-level goals for your chambers. 3 elements of goal settings include, obviously, a vision statement. Your vision statement should clearly articulate what you are trying to achieve. And it all starts with a vision. For example, what will St. Kitts and Nevis business sector look like if your organization is outstandingly successful? So I'm sure that the Chamber currently has a vision statement, and later on when we go into our working group sessions, we will discuss that. Another element of your goal setting should include, before we actually go there, let's talk a little bit about the reason why you should have a vision. There is a reason why defining your vision is the first thing you should do in your whole strategic management process, because every single step that follows should flow back to delivering your vision. And what does that help you remain? It helps you to remain focused as an organization. Your vision is what's going to keep you honest and consistent as you move through the whole strategic management journey. And there are key pointers as to how do you effectively write a vision statement. And for your Chamber of Commerce, a good vision statement should be short. It should be simple. It should be specific to your organization. And it should leave nothing open to interpretation. And it should also be ambitious. Okay, so that is the first element of your goal setting. I have also included there for you as tips, common rules for developing a vision statement. It needs to be specific to your organization. We already said that. Describe an outcome only your organization can provide. You keep it short, 2 sentences maximum. Do not use words open to interpretation. Keep it simple, no technical jargons, metaphors. It should be ambitious, exciting, but at the same time, achievable. You do not want to say, as in the Chamber of Commerce, you want to help MSMEs or help the economy by increasing export by 90% or 40% if it's not achievable. So whatever vision statement you as a Chamber of Commerce define as yours should be achievable. And it also needs to be aligned to the organization values. For example, Nike's vision statement: bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Okay, I'll just put this example there so that you get a clear understanding of a good vision statement. Okay, let us look at the second element of goal setting, a mission or purpose statement. It is important to note, when done well, it can fire up your organization and provide the basis for improved levels of engagement, performance, and willingness to adapt to change. Your vision statement is very important for the success of your chamber strategy formulation and its implementation. It becomes critical, the critical test for your strategic decision-making at all levels of your organization. Why does your organization exist? Your mission or purpose statement. Yes? Somebody have a question? If not, please keep your mics muted. Thanks. Your mission statement or purpose statement should be clear. It should be logical. It should be achievable. It should be inspirational, and it should be memorable. Again, here, I've actually put here for you a good example of a mission statement from Nike as well. And one of the mission statements is to create groundbreaking sports innovation, make our products sustainable, build a creative and diverse global team, and make a positive impact in communities where we live and work. So we looked at the first element of goal setting for your organization. We talked about a vision. And the second element, we talked about instituting a mission and a purpose statement. And it is important as an organization, all employees, all board members, this should be at the tip of your tongue. okay, so that you clearly understand the strategic decision and you understand where you as an organization want to go. The third element of goal setting are values. And it is said in a perfect world, as an organization, your values should really write themselves, as they should reflect the qualities and traits of your organization. If you see on this chart here where your values falls, they fall under your vision. And how does your value fit into your organization bigger picture? Look at this diagram here. You have your vision at this top, your values, and later on this, you'll understand how your values and your focus areas come together and the importance of that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about values. Values bring your vision statement and your strategic plan to life. And it is a critical part of your strategic management process. For example, a key value for many organizations, they'll tell you integrity. As an organization, when you set in a value, you don't just set a value just for the word. You need to be clear as to why integrity and how do you as an organization bring integrity to life. Okay, because it's important as well to know that your values should represent how you will behave as an organization as you work towards your vision. Your values should be in line with your vision. What do you, or what do we need? I say we because part of the chamber for now. What do we need to be to deliver on the purpose and reach that vision when it comes to your values? As an organization, you can have internal values. You can have external values. Your internal values are intended to your own people, your executive, your board, your staff. Your external values could be aimed at your customers, stakeholders, or members. So these are some key things that you need to take into consideration as an organization. So when persons think of St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Commerce, once your values are communicated, shared, and reflected in the way that you operate as an organization, people will remember you and understand what you are all about as an organization or as a Chamber of Commerce. So I don't know if you currently have values, but it's definitely an important thing for you to include in your strategic plan or your strategic management process going forward. Okay, key steps to creating your organization's values. I thought it was important to put it in there just in the event that you do not have values. So when you are thinking of putting in place some values for the chamber, you analyze traits and behaviors of both your staff, your members, your internal partners, your stakeholders. Okay, you create values on your strengths. So you look at what you as the Chamber of Commerce are strong in and create your values on that so that you could shine through your values. It is recommended that you do 3 to 5 short values maximum. Test your values with your members, not just your members, but also if you're looking to implement internal values, test it on your staff as well. Your values should be synced with your vision. And also, what will you do to live it? Think of all of this, and also values should be easy and natural. So when you are thinking of implementing values for your organization or even for your individual businesses, these are some of the key steps to creating those values. And if you note, everything being displayed here or communicated to you actually helps you with, how would I say, helps you putting in place that strategic management process that you as an organization can live by, and also persons outside your organization can understand what you as an organization stand for. And that is very important. Okay, so we looked at goal setting, which was a key to the whole strategic management process. And the goal setting was broken down into your vision, your mission or purpose statement, and values. Another key element of goal setting is understanding your environment. Making sure that you have the capabilities to actually execute on that vision that you as a Chamber of Commerce have decided on. Ensuring that your vision is one that is compatible with the external realities of not just your local space, but regional and, well, the world really. Because a lot of organizations, business support organizations, have visions that they just cannot even, it's way beyond their capability of even achieving it. So it's important that whenever if you do decide to review your vision or to develop a whole new one, that you ensure that it is compatible with the external realities of the world. Okay. Another key thing in understanding your environment, especially now with COVID, a lot of businesses have existing SWOT analysis that was done years ago, decades ago, but especially with this whole COVID, in this whole COVID era, we are encouraging business support organizations to again, conduct SWOT analysis, because it is very important, you know, for you to understand the internal and external things that would affect you as an organization. And it really helps you, allows you to go through the exercise which considers your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. What this could mean for you. Okay? Your strengths could mean you can win as an organization. Okay? And that includes your internal factors. And it also could mean what you can lose as an organization, and that would reflect your weaknesses. Your external factors, what are the opportunities coming out of this whole COVID era? Or what are the threats? Okay, so it's important that we are encouraging, as your part of your strategic management process, that it's key for your organizations and your businesses to undertake a SWOT analysis. The presentation will be shared for sure. Everything from the training will be shared. Now let us understand your environment a little more. I think a lot of people just do SWOT analysis and just look at it as, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, these are my opportunities, and these are my threats. But we need to start looking at how we could use one to benefit the other. Use one to take advantage of opportunities of the other. And I say that, for example, let us look at strengths and opportunities, SO strategies. How can you use the strengths to exploit external opportunities for your organization? For example, a strong financial position, if you have that, enables your organization to execute more projects. So we're looking at how can we benefit from the strengths of the Chamber of Commerce to exploit opportunities that exist. Let us look at weakness and opportunities. How can you, as a Chamber of Commerce, overcome your weaknesses by using external opportunities? For example, how can you, as an organization who have financial problems, can collaborate with partners or etc. to execute projects? Let us look at strengths and threats strategies. How can you use strengths to respond to threats? For example, a strong brand or a strong name can be used to grow market share when demand is failing. And that's really for businesses. Okay, but the point here is to get you to understand how you could use the different elements of your SWOT analysis to work together to be able to achieve something. Don't leave it separate and just say, those are my strengths, those are my opportunities, those are my threats, those are my weaknesses. Weaknesses and threats. Remove weaknesses as a response to external threats. For example, an organization overcoming obstacles and pooling resources would respond to a threat of reduce your organization, if funding for your organization is reduced at some point. Okay, so that is key to understanding how you could effectively use the information coming out of your SWOT analysis. Do not just let it sit on your desk or become part of your strategic plan that nothing is done with what's reported from your SWOT. Again, understanding your environment. We talk about benchmarking and undertaking a benchmarking and competitive analysis. And we've already started doing that with business support organization, and we will get to the St. Kitts, Chamber of Commerce shortly. We have been working with the International Trade Center, and we are doing direct benchmarking with business support organizations. We've done a number of them already. We're using ITC's benchmarking tool to undertake the activity. Coming out of the benchmarking activity, business support organizations will get a report that shows them exactly what they need to improve, what's working, and would give them a whole bunch of recommendations as to how they can make the organizations more effective. And the benchmarking is very important because you need to really look at what you're doing compared to organizations similar to yours in the rest of the world that works for them. And the benchmarking helps you to be able to improve your operations, because as an organization, what you really want to achieve is to be effective, be relevant, especially for the MSMEs. You want to know that the services that you actually deliver to the MSMEs are beneficial and exactly what they want. It helps you to remain focused as well as an organization. So when you're benchmarking, there are a number of things that you would ask yourself. And even as a individual, you could do individual business, you could ask yourself those questions. Okay, so when you're benchmarking, you look at what are similar agencies in your domestic space and other countries doing? What are their success measures? What services do they offer? If we didn't exist, or if you as a chamber didn't exist, who would step in to service business needs? How do you measure up in terms of your processes, your innovation, your services, your leadership? How do countries that compete with St. Kitts and Nevis in key sectors promote and support those sectors? So those are all key things that need to be assessed when you're actually undertaking a benchmarking and competitive analysis as an organization. And if you're going to go through a strategic management process, and if you're going to go through the exercise of actually delivering or writing a strategic plan for your organization, this is very important. Okay? Okay, am I going too fast or is it okay for now?
Yeah, okay for now.
Okay, perfect. Good. Okay. Again, we're still on understanding your environment. We talk about employee engagement surveys, not just employees. For the chamber, that could also include your members and your board, etc. So you want to ensure that the people in your organization understand your purpose. Do they know how they will contribute to it with role clarity? Do they trust the chamber and their leaders? Are they getting the growth opportunities they desire? Can your organization attract and retain high performers? Are there suggestions for innovation and improve heard or acted on? So apart from, benchmarking, you also need to really look at your organization from within. So it is always encouraged that if you're going to go through the strategic management process, that you want to get a key understanding of what your employees think. So it is recommended that employee engagement surveys be conducted as well. Again, understanding your environment. Now, these are all key things that you must, as an organization, especially being a chamber working with key stakeholders and partners, both regionally and internationally, you have to be able to understand these things. You need to be able to, we recommend as well that you do a PESTEL, and that is looking at the political, economic, social, technological, legal, and the environment in your space. You need to assess the broad context in which your chamber is operating, looking outside of your organization. And the PESTEL tells you exactly what to look for. The political, so you look at current taxation, future taxation, the current, future, different things. You look at the economical aspect of it, overall economic situation, strength and consumer spending. You look at the social aspect of it, lifestyles, trends, demographics, because all of these can actually affect not just your goals, your values, but it could also affect the projects that you undertake as a chamber. You look at the technological aspect of it, the relevant current and future technology innovations, the levels of research funding. You look at the legal, the legislation that exists in different areas. You look at the environmental, the level of pollution creation and so forth, recycling. So we recommend as well, more so for organization, although it's important for a business, individual businesses as well, but it's very important for a business support organization. Key, because at the end of the day, you want to know that you are actually provide the services that you provide in are relevant. And it can only be relevant if you understand. If you understand what is going on in your space, looking outside your organization. So the PESTEL is a guide as to what you can look for where that is concerned. When you're doing a PESTEL analysis, I just presented this table here so it can help you. So political, you look for what is changing and what does it mean for you as an organization. So it's just a little guide that for you when you are undertaking that PESTEL, but it is important. For example, I know business support organizations, some of them are given stipends by government. So if the government decide that you no longer get that stipend, you need to already look at what does it mean for you as an organization. Okay, so these are very important things for you to consider when you are going through your whole strategic management process, planning and formulation. So we looked at strategic formulation. We looked at clear set of goals, including a vision. We looked at having a good understanding of your environment, and we looked at understanding that your environment is not just what exists outside of your organization, but also what exists within your organization. So once all of these things are taken into consideration, as an organization, you should be ready to craft a detailed strategic plan. Okay, so these are the key things that you have to take into consideration when you go into your strategic, when you're going to go through your strategic formulation, planning, and processing. Before we move on to the next section, any questions or comments? Is the information clear to you?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, is it very relevant to what the processes that you're about to undertake?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Hello?
I didn't get.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Go
Hello,
ahead.
Sharon. Yes, but thank you for the information. The information is clear and it's relevant. I have, while you were presenting, based on my experience, I just wanted to get your take on this, because very often I come across many instances where there is not a clear understanding between the vision and the mission. It appears to be an area that people struggle with a lot.
Yes, very much so.
And you end up having a vision that is long and a mission that is long. The second thing, and you made the point, the vision and mission very often they are lost and they don't connect to reality, because for one or the other, the infrastructure within within the organization, and I can speak for sometimes in government, sometimes you have these lofty objectives, but you can't find the KPIs and you cannot achieve the objective because the finances have not been allocated. So we have to be very mindful of really what is really being set in our visions, missions, or values, and the context connects. If there isn't that golden, then we will be setting up ourselves to fail.
Exactly, that is perfect. And I'm happy you actually reiterated that, because that is why it is key that you understand your environment, so that at the end of the day, when you are sitting down to write that vision and mission, it will be informed from what you see happening on the ground. You know, so you don't just write a mission and a vision without going through the whole process. You need to do that analysis, SWOT, a PESTLE. You need to look at what exists inside your organization, your employee surveys, because at the end of the day, if you do not have the resources for all of that, then, you know, your vision and mission would be useless. I see Carolyn Henry Morton has a raised hand. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to piggyback a bit. I didn't want to break your focus and concentration when you were presenting. But since we are at that point, I wanted to piggyback a bit on what Pierce Rattan was saying. Earlier, you pointed about the importance of making sure that your team members, your staff, that they understand what the vision is.
Yes.
And how, because by and large, they're the ones who are going to make the vision happen.
Yes.
Right? PS very often doesn't go out into the field and, you know, implement. I mean, you have an idea, and I am a PS, I can tell you that. I do go from time to time, but the persons who are really, really on the ground and measuring and really seeing what is working and what isn't working are the officers, the persons in a particular unit who are responsible for whatever the project is. And so I hear you, and it resonated with me when you said the whole importance of making sure that your staff, your team members, your colleagues understand what we're trying to achieve here, and what is the role individually and collectively of all of us understanding the part that we have to play to make what we have on paper become reality.
Yes, that is very important. So I'm happy that that resonated with you as well. Okay, so should we move on?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So
Andrina?
Yes, go ahead.
I couldn't help but try to reinforce when you spoke about your employee survey, but I wanted to ask a question in terms of also the merits, or even how, I guess, applying that survey to your members, in this case, the chamber, having a membership survey, and the value, in terms of the value of that information to inform the way forward, with the issues, concerns, their perception of the chamber and the usefulness of the chamber.
Yes, it can help inform, especially when it comes to the services that you provide as a chamber. Are the services relevant for them? So it can help you to really analyze your services. It can help you to when we go later on in the presentation, it talks about focus areas. It will help you to review the focus of your areas at your chamber based on what, because at the end of the day, you exist as a chamber to serve your members.
Yeah.
Somebody is talking. Ashley, you want to say something? Okay.
Not really, no, my mic is open on the street, but I'm listening very keenly. So far,
okay. Good. Okay. Thanks. Kindly mute your mic for me, please. Thank you very much. Okay. Now let's talk about what is a strategy. Strategy needs to answer 4 key questions for you as an organization. Where are you now as a Chamber of Commerce in terms of your context, your current position? Where do you want to be as a Chamber of Commerce in terms of your vision, your objectives? How do you get there? That means where to play, how to win, customers, market, services, technologies, competencies, culture. How do you know when you have arrived as a Chamber of Commerce? Do you have anything in place to measure your successes? Do you have targets? What reporting? Is your reporting very effective? Communication, your celebrations, your refresh. All of these we'll do in detail later on. As a Chamber of Commerce, your strategy should be adaptive and continually checked for relevance. Do not just write a strategic plan or everything you've put in your strategic management process for the organization and just it exists for 10 decades or, I don't know, whatever measures or processes that you have in place, how long they've been there. You need to always check what you have for an organization, that it is relevant, because look at how COVID have changed everything. And like I was saying to many business support organizations, if we were following the trend or if we were adapting to the fact that many businesses are going virtually with many of their services, we would not have been caught so off guard with COVID. So you should always continually check for relevance, whatever you have in place for your processes. Your strategy should be fed from all levels of the organization. And again, we spoke of that earlier, and it should be owned by everyone, not just management, not just the board, but by everyone. Your strategy should be designed by those closest to your members or your customers. You find a lot of business support organizations, regionally, internationally, they hire consultants to come and write a strategic plan. That will never work, because your strategic plan should come from you. Really, as an organization, yes, the consultant could be hired, but the processes must be done in close collaboration with your board or your staff or your members, etc. Because external agents can be used as facilitators or analysts, but you are the experts of your organization. There are many businesses that have strategic plans on their desk they cannot use because it was written by external agents that did not understand their businesses or their organizations. Your strategy should be developed using creativity, empathy, rather than analysis. Okay, and we'll talk about that later. What are the benefits of having a strategic plan for your organization? Again, we spoke of that earlier. A shared vision and values influences favorably how people behave, both internal to your organization and external. A shared understanding of what needs to be achieved over the life of the strategy, the organization mission, is very important. An organizational stance which is more proactive than reactive. Again, what does that help you to be? Remain focused as an organization. You have a strategy with a vision and mission, you work towards that. A lot of business support organizations are scattered because they deviate outside of what they're trying to achieve as an organization. A better organizational capability to mitigate risk and threats, higher morale, all other things being equal. Consequently, a better chance of stronger financial and non-financial performance, because if you focus on what you can achieve with the budget that you have, of course, you will have a stronger financial and non-financial performance. And finally, the potential for your organizational longevity. Because once you have a proper strategic process or strategic plan, it helps when it comes to sustainability of your organization or the longevity of it. So those are all benefits of having a strategy or working strategy or having a strategic plan for your organization and even your individual businesses. Why is it important? Strategy is about making the right choices as an organization in order for you to deliver on the goals that you have documented or you say to your members that you are going to achieve on their behalf. A good strategic framework provides clarity about what is important, ensures commitment to shared goals, requires internal and external communication, drives change and continuous improvement, ensures employee engagement, insists on focus and alignment of efforts, including saying no when you have to. As an organization, and that even happens a lot, even with my organization, a lot of things come your way and they look great on paper. But when you look at the resources that you have both in-house or externally, or whether or not it aligns to your organization's work program, focus, visions, and mission, sometimes you need to say no. Requires allocation of resources. Most importantly, if you're going to develop a strategic plan, you must have the resources to actually execute what you're going to put in that strategic plan. And a part of a strategic plan should always include what projects or activities that you are going to undertake as an organization. It provides a framework for measuring and reporting and creates potential for organizational longevity again. Importance continued. Importance of being clear on your strategic vision and direction and clear on all your unique selling points. Clarity of the organization, purpose and brand, clear on your goals and value, clear on your core customer and priorities, clear on what you are doing and why, provides a basis for structured and successful business plan and helps to define your critical success factors. Those are just the importance of putting in place a strategy or having a strategic plan for your organization. And if you realize most of those things just more or less point to the fact that it leads you to be focused and more relevant and more effective. So it's really simple. A strategy is where are we, your objectives, where do you want to get to, and your tactics, how. Simple as an organization. So developing your strategy, some key points. You need to identify and build on what works. What are the main external and internal issues? Clarity on your vision, your values, your mission, your focus areas. And each of these in our working group sessions, we're going to address individually, and you'll be given key pointers as to how to create these effectively and objectives. Identify the market organization opportunities, agree and prioritize the opportunities, identify key success factors in implementation, identify people, knowledge, skills gaps, ensure focus and clarity of roles. And I think earlier we talked about that as well. Developing your business planning and measuring your progress. A lot of organizations fail with that last one. Sometimes projects or things they want to achieve goes on for years because it's not the success of these things are not measured. Yes, I know finance and money hinders a lot of the delivering of some of the goals that you want to achieve as an organization. But then again, that is why it's very important that you be realistic with what you set out to do when you're actually developing your strategic plan. Key elements of a good strategy. Now, coming out of the whole session, you will be given an example framework for a strategic plan. So, and it includes some of these things here. So the whole point is just that you have that framework that you could just populate, and at the end of the day, when you're finished, it helps you with you know, getting a draft strategic plan that you could build on. Again, key elements of a good strategy, short, concise executive summary, context for the strategy, analysis and summary, current position, SWOT, needs, opportunity, with a lot of the stuff that we address, your vision, mission, values, focus areas, goals, and strategic objectives, projects. What are you going to do? Output and impact. How are you going to do this? Who will work with? What services will you provide? And later on in the working group sessions, you will understand a little more of that. The operational aspect, that is the organization structure to support this, governance and risk management, budget, key performance indicators, that is performance measurements against targets, annexes, which we will go through at the end of it. So already you can see here, all of these pointers here already helps you with the development of a good strategic plan for your organization, one that can help you to remain focused and relevant. Simple and effective way to write a strategic plan. We'll be going through each one of these areas. We already covered vision, we covered values, focus areas, we'll go through objectives, KPIs, and projects. It just gives you, especially for a small business. I mean, for organizations, there's a little more to it, but I put that there for businesses who want to actually, you know, attempt to even develop a strategic plan. Those are some of the key things that you would need to think of. Simple and effective way to write a strategic plan. Okay. Oops. Okay, again, we talked a lot about that strategic choice cascade. What is our winning aspiration? What will we pay? How will we win? What capabilities must be in place? What management systems are required? These are just all guidelines for you. The right playing field, the purpose of your organization, what are your guiding inspiration? Those are all things that you need to think of when you are putting in place a proper strategic management plan. And again, this will be shared with you. Okay, specifics of a plan, we talked about focus areas. What are focus areas? These really should be the key outcomes that you as an organization are trying to achieve when creating strategic focus areas. That is to realize your vision statement. They are the first steps on your path to turning your vision statement into reality. They can be high-level things that you will be focusing your efforts towards as you strive towards your vision. It is recommended that you have at least 3 to 6 focus areas. Give me a moment. My mouse has stopped. I don't know why. Okay. Okay. So if you noted where focus areas fall under, you have your vision, you have your values, and your focus areas are in line with your values. Okay. Rules of thumbs for creating strategic focus areas. They should be no longer than 6 words. When we go through our working group session, it'll give you an opportunity to create some, or to think of, brainstorm on some focus areas. There should be no jargons, no metrics. There are no hard and fast rules about how your values and focus areas should fit together, but a couple of obvious examples might be this. For example, you have a company whose value is energy. So the focus area that relates to that value is to expand our businesses internationally. Another company has a value empathy, the focus area responding to customers' feedback. Another one, continuous learning, focus area, staff training, and empowerment. That's just to give you an example of as to how your focus areas should be synced with your values. Okay, so I don't know if you as a chamber currently have focus areas, but it's something that you could take into consideration. Even individual business owners there on this session is something that you could take into consideration as well. So again, you have strategic objectives. Those are important. These are really your high level statements that outlines what you as a chamber want to do or want to achieve with clearly stated deadlines. Your strategic objectives should align to one or more of your focus areas. Focus areas, yes. Typically, you will have between 3 or 6 objectives for each focus area. The relationship between strategic objectives, focus areas, and projects are actually outlined here for you. So you have a particular focus area, then you would have what strategic objective you want to achieve for that focus area. And obviously the key performance indicators would be the measurements, you know, coming out of the strategic objectives. So this gives you a clear understanding of the relationship between your focus area and your project. I think I have an example there. Let's see. Okay, I think I have an example. How to write your strategic objectives. Keep things simple. Should be easy to remember. Should be understandable by everyone within your organization, no jargons. Keep them to at least 1 sentence. Structure of your strategic objectives should have action, detail, and deadlines. That's the recommendation. But again, I wanted to just put an example of a strategic objective from Nike. Protect and improve Nike's position as a #1 athlete brand in America. This one doesn't necessarily have deadline, but these are the recommended structure that they give for your strategic objectives when you are writing them. I don't know at the moment what strategic objectives that exist for the chamber. But again, when you, and if you do decide to review them, ensure that the structure of the strategic objectives have action, detail, and deadline. That way, at the end of it, you can actually measure the performance of your objectives. Okay? Thirdly, we have projects. Those are all key things that you have to consider when you're writing your strategic plan. We already went through the strategic management process, which gave you a clear understanding of what must be in place in your organization in order for you to be prepared to write the strategic plan. So we're just going through elements of the strategic plans. Your project should describe what you will do to accomplish your objectives. Strategic objectives, strategic objectives state what you want to accomplish, while project states how you will achieve these objectives. And KPIs measure your success at achieving those objectives. Okay, what should your project include? Project should include tasks. I know a lot of you are familiar with projects. Milestones, duration dates, notes, people responsible, risk and issues, project dependencies, etc. Okay, it is at the point in your strategic planning process that you will start to scope out exactly what actions you will take in order to achieve your certain objectives. Because you're not just stating objectives for stating objectives' sake. You have to be able to align your projects to your objectives to help make your objective become a reality. And that's just how it should be. How to create effective projects. It is important to note a task is an activity or an action that is either complete or incomplete, whereas sub-projects have stages of completion. So there are key steps in how to create effective projects. Creating a single project with multiple tasks attached. Ideal for a smaller project which does not require too many different actions, or creating a project with sub-projects attached. For a larger project, you are going to need to break into sub-projects sitting underneath the main project. Otherwise, you will end up with a list of tasks that are difficult to manage. Okay, like I said, this presentation will be shared. I know it's a lot to take in, but it will be shared. Your KPIs, your key performance indicators. It is said that the best KPIs for your organization are designed by starting with your specific business objectives. Your KPIs allows you as an organization to determine whether you are behind, on track, ahead, or have achieved your strategic objectives. And it is recommended when you are developing your KPIs, do not copy it straight from somebody else's list, because you need to take into consideration the strengths and weaknesses, information coming out of your SWOT, your PESTEL, and everything that exists in your organization, obviously, to come up with your KPIs. Writing KPIs, there's a four-step approach. Determine your strategic objective, define the success, decide on the measurement, and then write your KPI. How do you write a KPI? They should follow the SMART format: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. The main advice here is to keep it simple. That means no jargons. It is important as well. And keeping them to one sentence as well. You don't really want to have KPIs as a paragraph. Ensure that they are action, detailed, value, unit, deadline. For example, if KPI for you is one of your objectives may be increase your membership by 40% by let's say in the next 2 years. So you could actually align a KPI to that. And the KPI could be membership increase by 40% or so forth. Look at again, example of Nike's KPIs: revenue increased by 10%, Nike digital increased by 36%. So again, that is why it is actually advisable that you do not just copy KPIs, that you look at your specific objectives as an organization, look at your focus areas and so forth to be able to come up with your KPIs. And I have included some tips here for you. Starting off right with a verb forces you to be specific about what you are trying to achieve. Okay. A metric and a unit ensure your KPIs is measurable, and a deadline will do wonders for staying timely on your progress. So those are 3 key tips that you can consider when you are revising the KPIs or deciding on KPIs for the chamber moving forward. And as your individual businesses, the same. If you want to increase revenue by 10%, 20%, okay? So these are key tips for that. Okay, conclusion and next step for this presentation. We went a little over our break, I must say, but I wanted to finish this presentation before we move on. While strategic planning is an important part of striving towards success, it is actually only the beginning. Strategic execution is the part which most organizations struggle with. So our next session, strategic planning and formulation working group session, is coming up. Now, thank you for your attention on this presentation. Now, before we move on, do you still want to take a break or should we continue? Because it's already 25 past 11. Any recommendation?
Continue.
Continue? Okay then, good. So I'm gonna stop share. Questions, any questions whilst I load the second presentation? Just bear with me one moment. I'm going to mute for a second whilst I load my second presentation. But feel free to share any concerns, comments, or questions whilst I do that. You could also share anything that that stuck out for you from the presentation as well. Anybody would like to share something? This is meant to be a discussion. I see Carlin Henry, your hand is up. Is that from before?
I'm sorry, that is residual. That is from before. I'm sorry. I'll take it down.
I think the area of difficulty from my end was connecting, I guess, the projects with objectives.
Okay, you'll understand that a little clearer when we go through the next presentation, which I'm having a little bit of issue getting into. I'm not too sure why, but continue speaking whilst I try, please.
So I guess the next question I wanted to ask is, whereas the processes usually from your vision, values, focus areas, objectives, KPIs, is there a way in which one could actually work from his or her strategic objectives and work your way up? If you're able to identify those, having engaged, let's say, your staff or engage your members, or is the process one where it's top down, or could it be bottom up? You're muted, sorry.
Sorry. I think when you go to the second presentation, it will address that. So let me leave that for the second presentation, so you get a clearer understanding of it. For some reason, I'm having a little issue loading it. So I'm going to mute. Many apologies. For some reason, it's just not sharing. Like I can see it, but it's just not sharing on the screen. I have no idea. So bear with me one moment, please. Technology always fails us at some point or the other. I think I've got it. Are you able to see the screen now?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Let me just put it in presentation mode. Okay, so this working group session, it has some information from the previous presentation, but it also have some new information and stuff that we need to work on. So if you remember, we went through this, a simple strategic plan picture, vision, value, focus area, objectives, and KPI, so forth. Now, before we move on, the chamber as it exists at the moment, Mr. Hope, when you look at that simple strategic plan picture, can you tell me what the chamber has currently, if you have to look at this strategic plan picture? Did you hear Mr. Hope? Can you hear me?
Hello, Giselle Matthews here. I don't know if maybe I can answer if
Yes.
he's not hearing you or not online. I'm not certain. Currently, our vision, interestingly enough, our vision for the chamber. Now, our mission and our vision was established, you know, many moons ago.
Yeah.
So I don't have the date handy. Oh, yes, and I can tell you what that is. Our vision is to be recognized as a private sector authority on operational and leadership excellence, growth, and development. That's the vision which we are governed by currently, and our mission is to improve the quality of life for all people of St. Kitts and Nevis, which is a very broad mission, and very broad, and I think not likely achievable. When we spoke earlier, okay?
Not
I think
your
we need,
organization.
no. There are decisions an organization can make and does make that can affect, yes. You know, in its entirety, you know, if you're thinking about the actual economy, we might advocate for certain decisions, but how does that affect everyone? I think that that's something I'm very keen on, while I'm still Chamber's president, to work on our mission to make it more realistic and achievable. And so that's why I'm listening in also. But yes, so just to not tie up any more of your time, that's our vision, to be recognized as a private sector authority on operational leadership, excellence, growth, and development. We are achieving some of that in our move towards training and development and opening our development and training center on Nevis, which would cover both islands, and providing free training where we can for our members and bringing value to our members and the businesses in which they function.
Okay, so you don't currently have values or focus areas?
No, not well. We are currently building our strategic plan for the next 5 years. And so, and that is something that we are now working on to shift and revisit the chamber as an organization and move into this new realm. And so,
but you don't have it as it exists right now.
Yes, we do have focus areas. One in particular is the training and development, move to training and development center, which we have just gotten off the ground and just finally outfitting. So that is one major focus area of our chamber at this time, for small businesses, SMEs. World of work for young people out of school, training, developing them, giving them the necessary requisite interview process, etc. So we are working on, Kevin can jump in on more focus areas that he's working on at the moment. But yes.
Okay. And Kevin, are you there now? Mr. Hope, are you there? Because I wanted to address your earlier question. Okay, and Mr. Hope was asking about whether this could be a bottom-up approach instead of a top, but it's advisable if you're going to go through the strategic process that you do it from the top-down approach. Your vision must be established, values, focus areas, your objectives, and so forth, as opposed to your objective, focus areas, values, and then vision. It does not work that way. Mr. Hope, are you there? I think there's something.
I have sent him a message. I don't know if he stepped out of the office. I'm in a different location to him at the moment.
Okay, but that addresses his question.
Mm-hmm.
You must know your vision and your values, focus areas before you actually establish your objectives. So this is it. Okay, so we're going to delve a little bit into the goal setting, the three elements of it. And first, to remember what goal setting is. Goal setting encompasses the process of defining your organization, your chamber, higher level goals. And your vision statement, again, clearly articulates what you as a chamber are trying to achieve. But however, like I said, it all starts with the vision of the organization. Okay, your vision statement, you need to consider things like, where do you want to get to? What will the world look like? For example, what will SKNCIC look like if your organization is exceptionally successful? What would you as an organization like to ultimately achieve and give purpose to the existence of your organization? Okay, every significant action in your organization going forward should ultimately contribute towards your vision. Every significant action in your organization should ultimately contribute towards your vision. And I stress this is because even for our organization, sometimes, like I said, you have things thrown at you from all over the place, but sometimes you need to remain focused and say no. Otherwise, then, you know, all the hard work you do towards your strategic planning and your process and your formulation just goes out of the window if you become a little bit too scattered. Can I get an agreement with that? Because it's very important that this is noted. Anybody?
If I may, again.
Yes.
I would say as a chamber, I think this applies very much to us. We are inundated with requests, emails, networks outside of our chamber, international organizations, regional organizations on a daily basis.
Yes.
We are asked to be involved, to be on committees, to sit in, and you simply can't do it all. And yes. I think that establishing this strategy and this agenda going forward, and as you said, revisiting your vision daily, looking at it, have it be your guiding light, which would then allow you to focus your energy and your resources
yes.
in those areas that help you to achieve you know, obviously your vision statement, and to ultimately deliver on your mission.
Perfect.
So yes, we find ourselves very much in that situation as a chamber, as we sit today, especially with COVID, even more so over the last 2 years. The demands on the organization has been great.
Yes, and this is why, again, this is why at the very top of the diagram, to emphasize the importance that everything should relate or feed to the vision of your organization. Okay? What are you as a chamber trying to achieve?
Before you go on, please, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say from an institution perspective, I do agree that all actions must contribute to your vision and mission. What I particularly like about what was said before is that we must be able to say no and know when to say no. I think for me that is very important coming from an education and training institution, because quite often a number of several things are thrown at institution because we believe that education should fix it, as we normally would say. But once we identify our vision and mission, then we should be clear on the actions that are needed to support the mission and vision. And equally so, we must be able to say no when we see an action that is not supporting the mission and our vision.
Yeah, it's important. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Here. Yes, one of the things I'd like to throw into this also is whether or not in the vision statement, if everybody defines success in the same way. Because I think that is an area that could be very dicey. Some persons, they may be talking about success for the organization, but it is being viewed in a very different way. So that also has to be aligned. I just wanted to throw in that.
Yeah, that's why it's important when you are going through your whole strategic management and planning process that you understand the environment, both internal and external to your organization. And understanding the environment also means understanding people's perceptions and how they think. So it guides you as to how to really sit down and formulate that vision statement. If you understand what I mean. Okay, so what are you trying to achieve with your vision statement? You have the high point of your plan. Every significant action should contribute to this. It should be memorable and inspiring summary on your chamber's reasons, the chamber reason as to why it exists. It should be a concise statement of what you as a chamber is trying to achieve, and a limiter that helps you to remain focused. So everything that we just discussed, this is what your vision statement should be and help you as an organization to achieve with that statement. So that's just a summary of everything we just previously discussed. Common rules for developing a vision statement. It needs to be, again, specific, describe an outcome only you can provide. These are some of the key pointers that we discussed in the previous presentation. And I put it in there because this presentation will be shared, and this is what you'll be using for your little exercise, which will go towards the end of this slide. Steps for developing a vision statement. Again, define what you do as an output. Example, a government department does lots of things, but the outcome is better lives for the citizens they serve. That's just a general output of what? All the services that they provide. The twist, define what unique twist your organization brings to the outcome. So identify that's something that makes your chamber successful where others have failed. For example, if we take the government example, so far our vision statement is looking pretty generic along the lines of citizens receiving services. But why will they benefit from the services more than the services of other organizations? It is because of their unique position in the drive to offer government services. Or is it because of the drive to make an impact? So those are all of the things you have to think of and take into consideration when you are developing your vision statement. Okay, so whatever your unique selling point is, not only individual companies that manufacture products and products can have a unique selling point. Organizations that provide services can also do that. So think of what's unique to you and let it shine through your vision statement. Okay. Step 3, when you are thinking of doing your vision statement, think about the quantification of it. Apply some high-level quantification. Now that's not a must, but it's a recommendation. So you can ensure that is not, but when you are putting a quantification in your mission, in your vision statement, ensure that is not too visionary. Like the one you read a while ago, that was very visionary. So ensure that it's not too visionary with no possible end in sight. However, don't be too specific to apply specific metrics at this stage. Sticking with our government department example, the quantification could be citizens. So it's not a number, but they're talking about the fact that they're providing the services to citizens. Also, when you're thinking of developing a vision statement, think about the human connection. So you could add something relatable, human, real world aspects. For example, our vision statement right now, by this point should be almost finished. However, there is one final thing that's missing that can be applied to help make it even more memorable. And that is to add a real life aspect. This allows person to conjure up a solid mental image to associate with your vision statement. For example, ensure that every client who interacts with your organization does so smiling. So we could say ensure that every client or every citizen that interacts with the government or department or organization does so smiling. So when you think of that vision statement, it's not a must, it's just a recommendation. And by the way, when you think of that vision statement and you read the part does so smiling, you could actually just visualize persons coming in and walking out smiling, happy with the services. So how do you bring your vision statement together? A good vision statement should be short, simple, specific to your organization, leave nothing to interpretation, and should also have some ambition. Again, I've stated in here some common rules for developing a vision statement. Needs to be specific, keep it simple, keep it short, the same as before. At the bottom, you have an example. A car manufacturing company may have a vision statement such as to be the premier car manufacturer in the Pacific. This vision statement clearly articulates where the organization would like to be and the value of the organization. So this is just an example of a very good vision statement. So in preparation for tomorrow, I want you to not so much conduct the review of the vision statement, but let's come prepared with it. Okay, so that we could just do a little analysis of the current vision statement that exists for the Chamber of Commerce. And coming out of, I will share this presentation, the first presentation before tomorrow's session. Coming out of what we learned from the first presentation, you could give your feedback as to what you think of the current vision statement for the Chamber. Okay? Good. The mission statement. Again, the mission statement is meant to answer the question, how will you get to your vision statement as an organization? Okay, it can also reflect why does your organization exist. A good mission statement, again, should be clear, logical, achievable, inspirational, and memorable. Different steps in actually developing a good mission statement. What single solitary word is the focus of your chamber? This is a single focus word within your organization. What would be 2 or 3 words that would explain why you exist as a Chamber of Commerce? What one sentence would sum up what the Chamber of Commerce is all about in a clear, very simple, clear, easy to understand way? And take your 2 to 3 words and put them into a single non-technical sentence that anyone could easily understand. It's just guidance when you're thinking of your mission statement for you to consider. Example of a good mission statement, we have American Express. We work hard every day to make American Express the world's most respectable service brand. So those are all little guidelines that you could use to review your existing mission statement in your process of your reviewing of your whole strategic management plan that you're doing right now. Again, the same as before, just conduct a review of the mission statement and tell me with your feedback tomorrow. Okay. I'm not too sure if everybody have access to your mission statement, but Mr. Hope, are you there? Maybe they can conduct the review and we can have the discussion. I will have a discussion with Mr. Hope afterwards.
Okay.
Oh, you're back. Okay, good. Your values, again, what are your values? Values should bring out your chamber's vision, okay? And it should make that vision come to life, and it's the critical part in your strategic planning process. They should represent how you as a chamber also behave as an organization as you work towards realizing your vision. What do you need to deliver on the purpose and reach of that vision? Your values depict how you behave as an organization as well. So as I mentioned before, and I think earlier you indicated that you do not currently have values. You can consider developing some internal values intended for your people, meaning your staff, your members, or external values meant for your customers, stakeholders, etc. So anybody you consider that's internal or external, you can consider values. And where does the values, Mr. Hope, you were out when I was trying to address your question. And it is recommended that you do the top-down approach. Your vision, values, and all of these should be established before you even think of developing objectives. Okay, so where does your values fit? Right here, and should be in sync with your vision. Okay, why? Creating company values, the process in action. Okay, I gave a few tangible examples here to help you when you're thinking of creating values for the chambers. When you're creating values, there are 2 questions you should always ask. Why and how? For example, a company decides that passion is one of their values. Why passion? For them, we're a small but growing organization. We need our people to output exponentially compared to more established businesses. The 2 most important drivers of this are a passion for what you do, and B, the ability to genuinely enjoy your work and embrace it as a positive aspect of your life. So when you are thinking of your values, think of 2 things. Why is it a value, and how do you bring it to life? Okay, how do we bring it to life? We encourage and fully allow people to discover and work with the tools and technologies they want to learn, empower them to implement the processes or techniques they wish to try, and research new ways of doing things. We allow them to change their minds, and we never rebuke failure. So what they've done here for you is to explain why passion is a value for the company and how they bring it to life. So those are two important things that you have to think of when you are deciding on values for your chamber. Okay, then we have key steps to take when developing values. And again, all those guidance is meant to help you better understand and to create effective values, objectives, and so forth. So I really want you to, when you're going through your strategic management process, when you are developing, if you do decide to develop those things too, that you look at those guidelines. Okay, so key steps to take when you are developing values: analyze behavior and traits. Remember, we talked about that earlier. Ask yourself what traits you will be looking for in the next hires. Those are just key things. I'll not read all of them out, but they're meant to guide you. The length of it. Test your values, that's important, especially your internal values. Test them on your staff, test them on your members. Revisit your mission statement if you have to, and think of, are your values consistent with your strategic vision? Will they take you closer to making it a reality? And don't stop there. Write down on a piece of paper why each company value is important and tangibly what you will do to live it as an organization. So though all of those things are key things to remember when you are developing your values. Examples of values: integrity, passion, honesty, accountability, fairness, trustworthiness, and it goes on. But the important thing is your values should not just be a word. Clearly articulate how, why, and how you're going to bring it to life, and ensure that it's in sync with your vision for your organization. Okay, now I was told that you don't have values at the moment. So for tomorrow's exercise, if you could, everybody could just recommend one or two. May not, obviously will not be values, values that will be definitely say that the chamber's own, but just so that you get a clear understanding of the exercise, I recommend one or two values and as to why and how do you bring it to life for discussion tomorrow. Like I said, I will share the presentation so that you understand exactly what is it we're going to be doing tomorrow. Okay? Then we have strategic focus areas. Again, we learned that your focus areas are the first steps on your path in turning your vision statement into reality. And again, those are key guidelines and you see where the focus areas fall. So once a vision has been established, the values, what are the focus areas that you are going to concentrate on to make these a reality? That will then ensure that your vision is realized. So your focus areas are the foundation stones of your strategy. They expand on your vision statement and start to create some structure around how to actually get your organization to achieve its goal. It is recommended that at least 3 to 6 focus areas be created. Let's learn a little bit as to how to do that. Example using a bike manufacturer shows how the vision, value, and focus areas interrelate. For example, a bike manufacturer. Vision statement is to be the premier bike manufacturer in the Pacific Northwest. The values are innovative, passionate, accountability, compassionate. Focus areas are aggressive growth, nation's best bike, modern manufacturer, and top place to work. Now, when you're actually going through this exercise, one of the things you have to do is actually link your focus areas to your values. Top place, aggressive growth could be linked to innovative, nation's best bike. We'll link it later on in the table when we go through the exercise, but that's just to give you a clear understanding of how they interrelate. Okay. Then we have rules of thumb for creating strategic focus areas. Again, all this is meant just to give you some guidelines. No metrics, not too broad, no jargons, no longer than 6 words. Example of focus areas. Again, it shows you how they link. You have revenue, cost, margin, example, increased sales. Then you have customer satisfaction, example, repeat business from customers. Compliance, zero regulatory issues. Innovation, launch new product lines. Engagement with a stakeholder, example, engage with community, employee happiness, etc. Some more examples of values linked to focus areas. We have it here. Energy, the focus area, expand our business internationally. We did that earlier. So it's just to give you an example as to how you could link your focus areas to your values. So when you are developing them, you could go back and use this as a guide. So activity for here is to conduct a brainstorming session to develop at least 3 to 6 strategic focus areas. And like I said, those wouldn't be set in stone, not for your chamber, but as you know, just for the exercise and for the training. So tomorrow we'll go through the exercise. I want you to already think of some focus areas that could be discussed. And here, what we'll be doing tomorrow, I'm going to stop this on this slide and we'll continue the rest of this presentation tomorrow. I'll go back to the activities that you do need to do tomorrow so you get a clear understanding. So tomorrow, what we'll do is the recommended values, we will link them to the focus areas in this table. But this is also meant to just help you when you are developing yours to be able to do so. Okay, so we'll stop here for today because I know we did a lot and we have a lot more to do today. But for tomorrow, like I said, we have something that I want you to come back with for discussion. We have spare me a moment. We have the vision and the mission statement. Mr. Hope, I know that the chamber has a vision and mission statement. Based on what was learned in the training, what I would like is just persons to use the information in the training to do a brief review of the existing mission and vision statement and of course talk about it, just to have a discussion on it. So what I would like is, if possibly, what you can do is to share the vision and the mission with persons that don't have it, so that we can do that. It's just to have a discussion, more so to just get a understanding that, you know, that the information communicated, that persons are able to, well, they understand what was shared. Is that okay, Mr. Hope?
Certainly, I'm going to share. I'll share a slide deck with some of that information.
Okay,
I welcome your feedback.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Also, what we want to do is, I would say, yes, somebody saying something? Okay, with reference to the values, so we have the vision and the mission review and feedback. That's for tomorrow. And I'm going to share the first presentation. This presentation is not going to be shared yet. So I would like you really to take down the information, that the points that you need to review for tomorrow. The values, we would like persons to recommend some values. I would say two each, and to say why and how would you bring it to life for the chamber. And again, that's just for discussion and for us to know that you understand the information that have been communicated through this session. Okay, so focus areas the same. Conduct a brainstorming session, develop at least 3 to 6. I would say everybody just come with 2 focus areas for the Chamber of Commerce. So remember, when you're doing this exercise, you know, take into consideration that the existing vision and the existing mission. Now, you don't have values, And I don't think that you have documented focus areas as part of your strategic plan, but still try your best to make sure that they align with the existing vision and the mission statement. Okay, just to ensure that you get a clear understanding of what was the information shared. We're not going to do this yet. So the exercise is the focus areas to each, values to each, and to do a little review of the mission and the vision statement for discussion tomorrow. Is that clear to everybody? Any questions on the exercise for tomorrow? Silence means no.
If I may, as Chamber President, I would say that I endorse sharing our mission and our vision with, given the fact that these decisions shouldn't be made in a vacuum, and they also should be shared with your stakeholders. I think that this is a good forum for us to have that discussion about the Chamber's mission and vision and values, because when we do decide that it's, you know, we have established that, it would be interesting, it's an interesting exercise, and it would be very good to go back to our membership, that we have incorporated most of you are members of the Chamber or government entities who have been invited to join. And I think I'll be very excited tomorrow to hear what some of the feedback is and how we can work together to brainstorm on our new mission and vision for the next 5 years.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm just gonna go to the chat. We have some comments. Is a mission different from a mandate? Is a mission different from a mandate? I think your mandate should inform your mission. That was asked by Maritza. Is a mission different from a mandate? I think your mission statement should definitely be built on your mandate, because that's, okay, so that's my answer to that. Can the guidelines in formulating a mission be used to also create a mandate? Well, I wouldn't want to say yes to that, to be quite honest, because I know a lot of organizations, a lot of business mandates come from governments and what happens in the environment. So, I mean, it can be, but I don't think there's a hard yes or no to that answer, to be quite honest. Hello, I have been working on some strategic planning for an NGO that I'm establishing. I appreciate your feedback. Sure, we can always exchange email addresses. I'll put my email address in the chat. Okay, I think that's it. That's it from the chat. I'm putting my email address in the chat in case anybody wants to contact me for anything. But before we end, any questions, comments? Was the information shared relevant? What did you think of the session? And if anybody's willing to share, I would really appreciate it.
I think that the session was quite intense and absorbing, and certainly a lot of food for thought.
Thank you. So the information shared can be used for you and your organization, sir?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Somebody else. Was there anything that you would have, although we're not finished, but tomorrow is mostly working group session, but was there anything that you wanted to know that was not covered in the strategic management process and formulation?
So far, I think it was pretty much what I expected, and just highlighting and detailing processes to achieve what you want to achieve.
Okay, and you understand the importance of it to your organization. And for persons that are entrepreneurs on the training as well, you see how the information shared can actually apply to your businesses as well, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Anything before we end today's session? Come prepared tomorrow, please, because it would be very interesting to get your feedback on the vision, mission, focus areas, values. And these things are important, especially for the technical people on the call. Understanding what was shared here today is very important. Can you imagine if you're able to share this with every MSME and they're able to put in place strategic plans? I think companies with strategic plans allows them to actually move to the next level, which is where we want our MSMEs to get to. A lot of them are not moving to that next level because they're really not focused and strategic in the decision making and everything, and the processes and everything. So imagine if we're able to share this knowledge with all our MSMEs and they be able to help them to achieve this, what a difference it would make.
Hello. I just wanted to share one thought. Yes, the information is helpful. It's usually a very good guide. But one of the things I wanted to observe or put out there is that very often this takes a lot of time. The space in our settings, I'm thinking about the time allocated to achieve this. And sometimes we think that it can be done instantly. And this is not an exercise that could be done. It's not an instantaneous product. So I think we need to remind ourselves that this takes time to think when, especially if we have to work together with whatever staff or whatever business setting or government setting that we have, time has to be allocated in order to come up with a viable plan.
I agree, and that applies to a lot of aspects of this whole strategic management formulation. It takes time for you to do it as an organization because a strategic plan is not something that should be done in isolation because you have to liaise with your board members and stuff like that. And it takes time to do a proper strategic management planning, but the process, the fact that you're doing it and undertaking the process, you plan your deadlines, but the fact that you're doing it is what's important. And it takes time for a technical specialist to do that with a business, yes, but again, it depends on the nature of your business and what their roles are. Because I know some organizations have technical specialists who work with upcoming companies, some work with export-ready companies. It all depends on how you or an organization, what they put in place in terms of the services that they give to businesses. But I think the important thing is the knowledge that the knowledge is there and the information is there, that the institutional strengthening of the organizations, it's being done. The capacity building to enable them to do so. That is the important thing. And we need to find ways and means to make it work and for it to be effective. But I understand where you're coming from for sure. For sure. Any other comment, feedback?
Yes, I do have a question that might help all of us today and to guide going forward on your strategic plan. Is there some sort of rule of thumb that you utilize or use in a timeline that is you should change or update your strategic plan or your handbook? Your corporations, you may have a handbook, and in that you have your mission, your statement, your vision, your purpose, your values. How often should an organization, and even outside of the chamber, let's use some of our stakeholders here who are in business, how often should we look to update that or revisit it and then have the discussion? And secondly, I think that in order to find the time to do these things, you have to have the will to do it. Yeah. Because you have to earmark, as Sharon Nathan stated, the time away from the day-to-day operations of your business, which consume you consistently, whether in government or private sector, that you then have the will, the decision makers have the will to make the change and find the time for that, to achieve it.
Okay, it is recommended. There are different views on it, but it is recommended that a strategic plan should not be longer than for 6 years. However, depending on what's going on in your internal and external environment, for example, none of us saw COVID coming. So depending on what is going on in your internal and external environment, there are times that you would have to go and review your strategic plan accordingly. For example, with COVID, I know a lot of businesses has had to change many things. So that's the feedback to that question. But I know for a strategic plan itself, it should not really be longer than 6 years. You have some organizations that do it for 10, but that's a very long time. Can you imagine how many times you would have to review it if something occurs in the environment that was not taken into consideration? Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, certainly. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I know we went a little over, but I hope this was very beneficial to you, and I look forward to tomorrow's session. Thank you so much for taking your time off your busy schedule, because I know with this whole working virtual thing, we have all become, how would I say, Zoom zombies, and just working virtually is becoming harder than, you know, being in the office, and it's like people have become busier. Lots of webinars, lots of conferences, lots of training. So I really appreciate the time everybody took to be a part of this training, and it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure conducting this session, and I look forward to tomorrow. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you also, but one last thing, are we gonna get this presentation this evening?
Yes, as soon as I hang up, I'm going to share the presentation with Mr. Hope, so his office can send out to all the participants. The second one you will not get, but the first one, you will get it.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much.
We need to do some work on the second one before I share it. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay then. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Andrina, and colleagues. Thanks for participating. Looking forward to collaborating tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and stay safe, everybody. Bye.
You too. Bye.